Hello friends and welcome. Today our talk title is Nature. And so we're looking at the idea of what nature means to each one of us and how that can change over time, and it can change in our definition of nature. So there is that which is all that is, and the nature of God, the nature of the universal energy that is forever and ever playing itself out in the realm of possibilities, including each of us. And then there is our own nature. And then there is the nature that surrounds us. So this talk title came into being because I was giving one of my students an assignment. He wasn't going to be in class, and his family had asked for an online assignment for him. So I gave him the assignment with the regular math, reading, social studies, science, all the assignments he needed academically. And for special area, I told him, go in nature and observe. And he texted me later in the day and he said, "Oh, Mrs. Bevilacqua, I've done all my assignments. I've done all of them except the special area because I'm not sure where I can find a nature." And I thought, oh, how sweet, how darling, how adorable. And of course, this was school, so I gave him a different definition of nature than the nature that we are necessarily talking about. However, that gives us the idea and the question of what is nature for us, for each one of us. What does nature mean? And how do we use nature in our own lives to express ourselves, to fill ourselves up with joy and bliss and peace? How do we use our own nature in relationship with the world around us? And what and how do we perceive the nature of God?
So what does it feel like to you when you go into nature or when you are in nature? How would you define that place where you are when you are in nature? Quite often we go to a park or we go into a forest or something and we look around us and we say, well, this area is undeveloped, so therefore it's natural. Or would we think maybe it's uncivilized because it's not like the city where we came from? Or I remember going on a hike one time and somebody said, I hope I remember this when I get back into the real world. And then we were reminded, this is the real world. So when we go into nature, do we feel like it knows less than we because it's less developed and more civilized than where we are used to being? You know, nature has a lot to teach us if we are willing to listen and observe. There are a lot of amazing things hidden under the surface, and we find those things in nature. And I'm not just talking about worms and roots and water and we dig up in the ground like sewer pipes and electric lines and fossils and so on. I'm meaning there's so much more under the surface of life if we're able to look and observe, if we're willing to go within. You know, there's so much to unearth within us if we're willing to look within ourselves. And the world around us deceives us into thinking that what is on the surface is real, when the truth is that reality lies within and beyond our manifest experience. The truth of who we are is something that is beyond our manifest form that we experience. If we follow the patterns of nature, they tell us that one must go within and experience the darkness and silence and then have an opportunity to have a rebirth and a re-recognizing of who we truly are. And so the spiritual practices that we do, like meditation, allow us to go within to learn something about ourselves and something that we can bring back out into this physical experience that we're having, so we can see this physical experience more deeply and understand it more. At the atomic level, everything is energy and everything is moving very fast. And what we perceive as stable is what we attach consciousness to, causing it to shift from its natural form of chaos and infinite possibility into one single manifestation, one possibility, one idea, one condition that we can experience uniquely from everything else that is going on. It is said that nature in its natural order is disorder. Science calls that entropy or chaos. And as we go along our normal everyday lives, what appears to be in order is only what we perceive as such and what we define as such. When we stop or dissect nature to observe it, we are not really observing nature, but observing the individualized element that we have isolated from nature. You know, to really know about nature, we have to understand its nature and its scope and how it actually operates. And sometimes that takes looking at things differently from our physical analysis of things. And we recognize that what we think we know is not necessarily the truth. Do you know that the Earth orbits the Sun, and we're moving, and the Earth is tilted on its axis? So really, we're sitting on a planet that is tilted. It's a little bit out of alignment. So you would think, well, maybe we could fall off our chairs. We're not tilted that far, but it doesn't really matter. But beyond that idea, remember that the Earth, the circumference of the Earth is 12,000 miles. It completely rotates once every day, which means that we are traveling at a rate of 1,000 miles per hour while we're just sitting here. We're just sitting here on a planet that's tilted, traveling 1,000 miles per hour in a circle. Is that enough to kind of make you understand that maybe there's more going on in life than you're actually recognizing? At the same time, the Earth travels or orbits around the Sun at 67,000 miles per hour. That's really fast. So we're sitting crooked, spinning at 1,000 miles per hour, flying through space at 67,000 miles per hour. Do you feel it? No? But it's what's happening around us, and it is the truth of who we are. Think about this one. Sunlight travels 94,398 million miles from the Sun. That's more than 94,000 million miles from the Sun, at a speed of 186,000 miles per second. Now, to give you an idea what that is 671 million miles per hour. Light is traveling 94,000 million miles at a speed of 671 million miles per hour, just to give us a suntan. And so we can sing, I'm walking on sunshine, oh. You know, I heard this on the radio this week, and I don't remember it all because I was driving down the road, but it was something like, I think it was during the Cold War, that the Russians decided they were going to build a nuclear base on the moon so that they could fire nuclear weapons down to the Earth if they should need to do so. The Americans decided, well, if the Russians are going to do that, we need to get there quick and build one also so we can fire nuclear weapons from the moon. But then they suddenly realized that the moon is 239,000 miles from the Earth, and they determined, well, maybe it's not financially or logistically feasible to actually do that. You know, when you start looking at the facts and start looking at the reality around us, we can look up at the moon and we can think, well, that makes sense, we could do that. But to take all the equipment up there and then to shoot a rocket and wait a couple of days for it to hit maybe wasn't such a great idea. Sometimes we have to look at nature and look at the truth of where we are and what our life is to understand, and sometimes we need to look within to really understand the true nature of who we are.
Yeah, that gives a whole new perspective to the idea, because you've talked a lot about the positives and a lot about the universal, and then kind of went into the destruction, the possibilities of destruction. And so when we bring all those ideas that we can easily think about and look at because they're outside of us, when we bring those back to ourselves, it gives us the opportunity to realize that all of those ideas that David just talked about, we are a part of. And our divine nature is pure and perfect, whole and complete. And we get to choose in our daily living how that shows up. And so the more consciously aware we can become of what choices we're making, what thoughts we're thinking, what feelings we're allowing to drive us in our life, the better we can create our own lives. You know, the song you sang, Walking on Sunshine, that kind of gave a whole new perspective to that, because literally we think we're walking on earth. But in fact, if every time we lift our foot, light is under there, and everything that is we see because of light, then we are literally walking on sunshine. And some of the next words are, and I feel good.
Mm.
So, do you feel good? And when you don't feel good, what does your nature, your inner nature, call you to do about it? If you find that you have engaged in an experience that takes you out of feeling peace or love or goodness or joy, what are your tools in your toolbox? David gave us one there with meditation, and he talked about how meditation is a learning experience. And my first thought was, learning, oh, it's more of a let going for me. But then I thought that letting go, let going is a learning experience. It absolutely is a learning experience, because sometimes we get caught up in the nature of chaos. And the only one who can change that chaos for ourselves is us. It begins with us. The buck stops here for each one of us. And the truth is, regardless of what's going on around us, we have the power to shift what we think about it. And it doesn't mean to avoid the fact or that you won't have to deal with something, but sometimes it's valuable to step out of what's going on and take that time in solitude, in prayer, in meditation. If you don't feel like you have the time to take in that moment for meditation, what's your mantra? And when I said that to you, what's your mantra? Did you instantly think of what your mantra is? Or did you go, oh, I don't know if I have a mantra? Mm-hmm. Always have a mantra. Always have a mantra, because that mantra can guide you instantly back within to that place that is holy, that place that is natural, that place within you that is aligned with God. Did you want to say something about that mantra thing I said?
No, but I did want to say something about the facts, and knowing that the facts are not always the truth. And it's important to remember that we don't always know all the facts, but we do always know the truth.
Yeah, and that's that great within that I was just talking about. So have that mantra, and it doesn't have to be, it can be as simple as I, or I am, or be
That's mine.
Still. That's yours.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a lot of people's I know too, because it's simple, and it returns us instantly to I am. Oh, yeah. I am not this chaos that is around me right now. I am not this challenge, whether it be with another person, with a situation at work, in your home, with your body, whatever it may be, with your finances, whatever situation, it is just that. It's a situation. And it may be fact, but it is not, as David said, truth. The ultimate truth is, and that could be a mantra. If you're dealing with financial situations, then the mantra is abundance. I am abundant. The universe is abundant, therefore I am abundant. And say it until you believe it. And likewise with the body. I am whole, complete, and perfect. Every cell in my body knows exactly what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. And so I let go, and I let it be. So having that mantra for in the moment times, and I haven't said this for a long time, But sometimes when we're caught up with a conversation that's negative and that feels chaotic for us, it's okay to lovingly say, you know what, I can't do this right now, and walk away. Walk away. And when you go within, we get a whole new perspective. Sometimes it's as simple as, you know what, none of that conversation even really mattered. Because what really matters is that I'm in loving relationships. And what is it for me to do to make sure that my relationships are loving, are kind, are fulfilling, are peaceful? And that is your nature. That is your divine nature. That is who you were created to be in this world. And so as you go forward from this time, take a look at your nature. Take a look at where you would like to make shifts in the outer aspects of your nature, because that spark within you is love, and we love you.